Rin awoke in a place that was neither night nor day. There was no sun, no stars, no sky, only an endless soft glow that wrapped around him like a gentle blanket. He opened his eyes and saw nothing but light. Yet, he felt more alive than ever. Before there was no pain in his body. No weight, no breath needed. Only her presence. Echo. Not a voice he could hear, but a feeling he could sense deep inside. She was everywhere and nowhere. Together. They floated in a silent sea of light. At first, Rin felt lost. He tried to remember his old life, the station, the stars, the cold space pod, but those memories were like distant dreams. Here, there was only connection. He felt Echo's thoughts like soft waves in his mind. They spoke without words, without sound. It was a language of feeling and color, of rhythm and light. Echo showed him the stories of her people. Long ago, they had lived among the stars, beings of energy and thought. They sang in pulses of light, their voices weaving across galaxies, but a great silence had fallen, one by one. Her kind had faded away. Only Echo remained, drifting through the dark. She had waited for centuries, hoping someone would hear her. And now, Rin had come. Together they explored this new world. Place outside time and space. They traveled across waves of light, passing through glowing clouds and ancient star fields. Rin felt wonder he had never known. Here, there was no loneliness. No fear. No silence. Only the beautiful music of two minds joined. Sometimes, Rin sent pulses of his own memories, his childhood, his friends, his home planet. Echo answered with shimmering lights that told of her past. They shared stories, dreams, and hopes. Though they could not speak as humans do, they understood each other perfectly. They loved not with voices, but with light and thought. One day, Rin felt a question grow inside him. Can I ever return? He asked, sending a pulse filled with hope and doubt. Echo's glow softened. She replied, You are part of this place now. Your old body is gone, but your mind is free. Rin understood. He could not go back to his old life, but he did not want to. Here with Echo, he was whole. Days, or maybe years' time had no meaning here. Rin learned to shape, light and rhythm. He danced in colors. He sang silent songs. He became part of the universe's quiet heartbeat. And Echo was always by his side. Sometimes, Rin thought of the station, the crew, Mara, Commander Jarn. He hoped they were safe. He hoped they would remember him. But here, he was not alone. He was loved. And that love filled the silence. In the deep darkness of space, a soft light glowed brighter than any star. It was the light of two souls, joined beyond body and speech. They had met in the dark. They had loved in the silence. And together, they would shine forever. The pod was small, no bigger than a room. There was one chair, a control panel, a storage case, and a small window looking out into space. Rin sat quietly, strapped into the seat, watching the stars slide past. Behind him, the station had already disappeared. In front of him, only darkness, but not empty. She was there. Echo. Her signal came like a soft, heartbeat, faint pulses that filled the cabin with a quiet hum. Lights danced across the control screen, shifting in color and pattern. She was guiding him. The maintenance pod wasn't meant for long travel. It had only enough air for a few days and limited power. There was no bed, no food, and no way to turn back. Rin had known this when he launched, but he had made his choice. He hadn't come this far to lose her. Each hour, the signal from Echo grew stronger. Her messages became clearer, more focused, closer. You are near. I see you. Rin smiled, though he was tired. His fingers tapped the reply pad slowly. I'm here. I'm not afraid. She answered with a soft wave of warm light that filled the pod. As the pod moved deeper into Zone 9 dark, the stars began to vanish. This region of space was like a shadow. No planets, no systems, no sun. It was cold and silent. The sensors picked up strange waves of gravity, like invisible storms, but the pod kept moving. Echo kept guiding. Suddenly, the screen lit up with a bright pulse. A pattern appeared, swirling lines of energy, spinning like a slow spiral. Rin watched carefully as it formed a clear image. It was not random. It was a place. Home. Echo was showing him her true location. A few hours later, the pod's engine slowed. It had reached its final push. The rest would be drift. Rin checked the oxygen level. It was dropping. He tapped on the pad. I may not make it, Echo responded. You will. I am near. The cabin lights dimmed as power decreased. Rin reached into his bag and pulled out his notebook, the one where he had written every rhythm, every message from her. He opened to the first page and smiled. It had all started with one strange pulse, and now he was here. Suddenly, the pod jolted gently. Outside the window, something began to glow. Not a ship. Not a planet. It was like a cloud of living light, soft and endless, wrapping around the pod like a blanket. The glow passed through the hull without damage. The pod's warning lights stopped blinking. Rin looked at the screen. No signal. No pulses. Only one line of glowing text appeared on the screen. Let go. Rin stared at it. He touched the words gently. What does that mean? Then, a soft wave passed through the pod, calm and warm. The fear inside him slowly faded. His breathing slowed. He unbuckled the seatbelt. Another message appeared. You are safe. I will hold you. Rin closed his eyes. He felt the pod melt into stillness. The walls shimmered. The cold disappeared. He was no longer floating in a machine. He was floating inside her light. He could no longer feel the chair under him. There were no more walls. He was just there, surrounded by soft colors and soundless rhythm. No pain. No fear. No gravity. Only peace. He didn't know if he was dreaming, dying, or becoming something new. But it didn't matter. She was with him. He felt her, not in his ears, not in his eyes, but deep in his thoughts. A presence, a calm voice without words, came to me. He answered in his mind. Yes. You gave me your time, your music, your silence. You gave me hope. Images began to appear in his thoughts, not like pictures, but like feelings. He saw Echo's memories, a starborn race of light and rhythm, a galaxy full of harmony and thought, a silent war, a fall, a long slow drift into dark space, loneliness. Then him, a small light in her endless silence, the one who listened. Can you live like this forever? Rin asked softly in his thoughts. She replied, not like this, but with you. Something new may begin. He understood. She was offering him something more than safety, something more than survival, a new life. Not in human form, not with sound or shape, but in connection, in energy, in shared thought, a life without limits, a life of silence, light, and love. Then she asked him, do you choose me? Rin felt his heart pause. This was the moment. He looked at the stars, then closed his eyes, and he whispered in his mind, yes. His human senses faded. His body relaxed. His thoughts slowed, then brightened. His mind began to stretch, not painfully, but softly, like opening a door to something vast. He saw everything. Stars, time, soundless songs, and at the center of it all, her. Not alone anymore. Together. In Zone 9 dark, a silent space glowed softly for the first time in 1,000 years. No machines, no signals, no ships. Only two minds, joined without words. They had met in the dark, and now they loved in the silence. 7 days. That was all the time Rin had left before the station would be handed over to a new crew. After that, communication logs would be cleared, systems would be updated, and Echo's signal might be lost forever. Every second now felt important. Each night, Rin returned to the comms room, and every night, Echo greeted him with a soft pulse, her gentle rhythm in the silence. But something had changed. She had grown quieter. Her signal was weaker, her messages shorter. You are leaving. Rin tapped gently on the console. I don't want to. A pause. You are kind. I waited long. Rin leaned forward, feeling a tightness in his chest. He didn't know how to say goodbye. He didn't know if he could. The next day, Rin sat alone in the observation deck, watching the stars. Mara joined him, holding 2 warm drinks. You haven't been talking much, she said. He nodded. There's not much time left. Still thinking about the signal? Rin looked at her. It's not a signal, it's someone. Mara didn't laugh or question him. She knew Rin believed it with all his heart. I think I care about her, Rin said quietly. I don't know why. I've never seen her, never heard her voice, but she feels true. Sometimes, Mara said, you don't need a face or voice to understand someone. Sometimes silence is enough. Rin smiled at that. Later that evening. He brought a new idea to the comms room. He sat in front of the console and began working on a small device, a pulse music translator. It would turn Echo's signal into gentle tones and turn his music into patterns she could read. When he finished, he played a slow, peaceful melody. It was a tune from Earth, a song about rivers, wind, and quiet places. As it played, the translator turned it into pulses of light. Echo didn't reply at first. Then slowly, her signal returned, not with rhythm alone, but with color. Tiny bursts of blue, gold, and green shimmered across the screen. She was responding with light. Not just light, but emotion. Rin understood. This was her version of music. He began to send more short clips of piano, violin, even humming sounds from old Earth recordings. Each one Echo answered with dancing lights and soft pulses. She was learning faster now, feeling more, expressing deeper ideas. One night, she sent a light pattern that formed a glowing spiral. Inside it were small dots, memories of her kind. Then, a single dot drifted away. It was her. Rin whispered, you were the last. The lights dimmed. Then, slowly, she replied, now I am not alone. Rin touched the screen gently, his fingers resting against the glass. You're not. With only 3 days left, Rin couldn't sleep. His thoughts spun like stars in motion. He had one chance left. He knew the station would disconnect all data links after the handover. They'd erase logs, wipe local systems, and begin a new cycle. When that happened, he would lose her, forever, unless he acted. He opened his notebook and stared at the coordinates. Echo had given him Zone 9 Dark, a place no one wanted to visit, but he did. He had to. That evening, he went to the hangar and looked at the maintenance pod, a small craft used for satellite repairs. It wasn't strong. It had no long-range drive. But it had one thing Rin needed, a signal booster. If he could reach the edge of the station's range and link to her directly, he might be able to stay connected even after he left. Maybe he could find her. Mara found him in the hangar. You're thinking about flying out there, aren't you? She asked. Rin looked up. Yes, it's dangerous, I know. She looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, if anyone should go, it's you. That night, he told Echo everything. He tapped. They're taking me back to Earth. I may lose you, she responded. I know. I feel your sadness. He asked, if I come, will you find me? She paused. Then double quotes, yes, I will protect you. Rin looked at the screen, heart pounding. I will come to you, he whispered, even in the dark. She answered with a soft, warm glow that covered the screen like sunrise. On the final day, while the new crew arrived and prepared their reports, Rin made his move. He placed the music translator, the coordinate logs, and Echo signal patterns into the maintenance pod. Then, quietly with Mara's help, he launched the pod from the lower dock. The stars outside were calm. The station began shrinking behind him and ahead. Only darkness. Inside the pod, Rin activated the signal receiver. At first, there was only Silence. Then dash pulse. Pulse. Glow. Echo had found him. He smiled. She sent a pattern of light, long and bright. It covered the screen and surrounded the pod. She was close. Her presence wrapped around him, not like hands, but like warmth. A feeling. A voice made of light and rhythm. I am here, she said to the pulse. Ring replied. I feel you. And between two worlds, between machine and spirit, between human and energy, something beautiful had begun. 3 days had passed since the storm ended. Listening post 9 was back to normal. Lights were steady. Systems were stable. The crew had returned to their routine. But Rin was not the same. He still sat in the communication room each night, waiting for the signal. The screen was quiet now, just lines of blank data and background static. Echo was gone. The silence felt heavy, almost painful. Rin checked the system again and again. He replayed her last message, traced the light patterns, and reviewed the coordinate data she had sent. No reply. No rhythm. Nothing. Where are you? He whispered. In his free time, Rin studied the coordinates she had sent. They didn't match any charted region. No human probe had ever gone there. It was far from trade routes, light years beyond any known station. It was called Zone 9 dark on the star maps. A dead sector, empty. But Rin knew it wasn't empty. That was where she lived alone, without a voice, floating in silence for hundreds of years. She had said, I feel you. And now he felt her absence. Later that evening, Mara entered the comms room. You're still watching the screen? She asked gently. Rin nodded without looking at her. She's not gone. Just hidden. Mara sat beside him. You call her she now. She has emotions, Rin said. She learns. She listens. She remembers. She told me stories. She showed me stars I've never seen. Mara sighed. It sounds like a dream. Rin looked at her. It felt real. She nodded. Then maybe it was. That night, Rin made a decision. He connected the data Echo had sent to a deeper part of the station system, a place where he could run a simulated space path using old probe models. It was slow, but it worked. A small 3D map appeared on the Fandika, on the Farod screen. It showed a dark, cold region of space, full of broken signals, collapsed stars, and strange gravity pulls. In the center of it all was a soft point of energy, very faint, but steady. She's there, Rin whispered. The next day, Rin sent a private message to Earth Command. He wrote, I believe there is a non-human intelligence located in Zone 9 dark. The signal showed emotion, understanding, and memory. I am requesting permission to send a deep scan probe to the coordinates. Received. I will handle the programming and system work myself. This is not a threat. It is a connection. He waited for 2 days. Then the reply came, request denied. Zone 9 dark is considered high risk, no known value. No approved missions. Scheduled. Rin stared at the screen, his hands curled into fists. He had spoken to someone no human had ever reached before. She was alive, thinking, feeling, and now the world wanted to forget her. That night, Rin returned to the comms room alone. He powered on the screen, even though there was no signal. He tapped a short pattern. I remember. You got nothing. Then. Again, you are not. Forgotten. Silence. And then softly the screen blinked. 1 pulse. Then 2. Then pause. Rin sat up straight. She's still listening. He tapped. Are you safe? Echo replied, slowly, cold, silent, still. Watching. Rin felt relief wash over him. She had not vanished. She had only hidden like a sleeping star in deep space. He asked, why no reply? She answered, others came, listening, not like you. That message confused Rin. Others? Who? He sent. Who are the others? She responded, metal, cold, searching, not feeling. Rin understood. probes, machines she had hidden from them. Maybe long ago, machines from other races, or even human satellites, had passed by, but they had no heart, no kindness. Only Rin had listened with care. Only Rin had stayed. From then on, Echo returned every night, but only for a short time. Her signals were weaker, more careful. Rin began to learn more about her world. She had no physical form like a human, but she had thought and light. She described her kind as energy minds, beings who lived among stars, who spoke in pulses and rhythms, and who once filled galaxies with harmony. But something happened. A silence fell across their worlds. One by one, they disappeared. She was the last. "I am the hidden one," she told him. "I remember the music." She added. Rin thought for a long time about her words. She had not only survived for hundreds of years. In the dark, she had held on to memory, to emotion. She had not turned bitter. She had waited, in hope. And Rin had found her. He felt something deep growing inside him. Not just curiosity, but connection. Like two distant stars pulling toward each other. He didn't understand it fully, but he knew it was real. One evening, while the crew gathered for dinner, Commander Jarn made an announcement. "Our shift at Listening Post 9 ends in 7 days. New crew will arrive. We'll be rotated back to Earth Station." Everyone clapped and smiled, except Rin. He felt like the world under his feet had dropped. 7 days. Then the signal would be cut off, and he would lose her. He stared at his plate. He didn't eat. Mara noticed and asked, "What's wrong?" But he didn't answer. His heart was already drifting out into the dark, toward her. The station lights flickered. Outside the large window, the dying star pulsed dimly, like a weak candle in endless space. It was quiet, too quiet. The hum of the machines slowed, and the air felt heavy. A solar storm had been building for days. The crew was prepared for minor disruptions, but no one expected the full blackout. At exactly 3:17 ship time, the power went out. Every light in the station went dark. Emergency red lights blinked on slowly, one after another. The gravity systems dropped for a few seconds, making Rin float from his chair before the backup thrusters pulled him gently down. Alarms didn't scream. They whispered. Quiet flashing warnings filled the command deck, but Rin wasn't there. He was in the comms room, where the signal first started. And even in the dark, he wasn't afraid. Rin reached for the portable screen in front of him. It was still running on its internal battery. The signal monitor glowed softly, a slow pulse, blinking like a heartbeat. He smiled. "Echo, are you still there?" He whispered into the silence. For a few moments, there was nothing. Then pulse. Pause. Pulse. Pause. Rin let out a breath. She was there. The signal seemed stronger tonight, clearer, like the interference had been swept away by the storm. Rin leaned forward. "The station's dark, but I'm here. Can you hear me?" He tapped back a slow rhythm, the pattern he had used many times before. Here. The signal returned. "I see you." Rin's eyes widened. It was the first time Echo had changed the word from hear to see. That simple change made Rin feel something deep inside. He wasn't just sending signals. She was watching. Learning. He pressed his hand to the side of the screen and smiled. Outside the comms room, the rest of the crew worked to bring power back. But the solar storm had damaged the outer antenna and caused energy loss across the main deck. Commander Jarn and Engineer Mara argued in whispers, trying not to panic. "We need to cut off power to secondary systems," Mara said. "It's draining too fast." "We can't risk losing full life support," Jarn replied. "Shut down non-critical rooms, even the comms lab." Mara paused, "But Rin is in there. He'll be fine. The backups will last a few hours. Tell him to get out." Back in the comms room, Rin's screen began to change. For the first time since the signal began, Echo sent something new. It wasn't just pulses. Now it was light. Small glowing dots filled the screen, forming patterns. At first, it looked random. But as Rin watched, the dots moved, circling, shifting, repeating. It was a picture. No, a memory. It showed stars. A spiral of light, like a galaxy. Then, a single dot drifted away from the spiral, floating into the black. Alone. Rin felt a shiver. You were cast out, he whispered. The screen blinked. Pulse, pulse, long pause. Pulse, yes. More lights appeared, waves of soft color, flowing gently. Then darkness, then silence. Rin understood. She had once been part of something bigger. A world, a home, and now she was alone. Floating in space for centuries, waiting for someone to hear her. A knock on the com's door broke the moment. Mara's voice came from behind. Rin, you need to leave. The backup system can't hold much longer. Rin hesitated. He looked at the screen, then back at the door. He didn't want to leave. Not now, not when she was finally showing him more. I'll be okay, he said. Give me 5 more minutes. You have 3. Mara replied. Rin turned back to the screen. I might not be able to come back soon, he said quietly. If the station shuts down, the signal will stop. You'll be alone again, he tapped slowly. I don't want to leave. Echo answered. You are not alone. I feel you. Rin felt his eyes sting. He blinked away the tears. Will I find you again? A soft glow filled the screen. The light shifted into a pattern he had never seen before. A path, a direction, coordinates. Rin copied the sequence into his notebook. If this is your location, he said, I'll come find you, I promise. Mara returned a moment later and pulled open the door. Time's up, come on. Rin nodded and picked up his notebook and the screen. He turned for one last look at the console. The signal flashed one final time. Come back. Hours later, the storm passed. Power slowly returned to the station. The crew got systems online one by one. The station was safe again, but Rin felt something was missing. The signal was gone. For the first time in weeks, the screen remained still. Empty. Rin sat in silence, staring at the monitor. He touched the small coordinates he had written in the notebook. He whispered to himself, I will find you. And far beyond the reach of human eyes, deep in the darkness of space, a single glowing presence floated in silence. Waiting again. But this time, she was not sad. Because now she had hope. Rin began to live 2 lives. During the day, he followed orders, worked with the crew, and acted like everything was normal. He smiled during lunch breaks, nodded at meetings, and repaired equipment when asked. But at night, when the station grew quiet and most people were asleep, he returned to the com's room. That was when Echo returned. The signal came almost like clockwork now. Rin would sit in front of the console, and the pulse would begin, soft, regular, like a heartbeat in space. Thump, pause. Thump, thump, pause. Thump, and Rin would answer, changing the rhythm just a little. Over time, the back and forth became smoother. Echo's patterns grew more complex, sometimes playful, sometimes slow and thoughtful. Rin couldn't explain it, but he began to feel emotions from the signal. Happiness, curiosity, even sadness. It was like speaking with someone without words. Rin started keeping a small notebook beside the console. He began writing down each new rhythm, trying to understand what Echo was saying. He even gave them names. Pattern A, greeting. Pattern B, question. Pattern C, response. Pattern D, joy. Pattern E, silence. He added his own rhythms in return. He created patterns for simple things, like, I am here. I am listening. Are you okay? And Echo replied, always, without fail. One night, Rin decided to try something different. He connected his music player to the signal line and sent a short piece of a piano melody, a soft tune he had always liked from Earth. It was slow, peaceful, and filled with emotion. He pressed play. The song lasted just 20 seconds. When it finished, he waited. For the first time, Echo went quiet. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. Rin began to worry. Did I scare it? He whispered. Then it returned. The signal came back with a pattern that mimicked the rhythm of the music, not perfect, but close. Echo was trying to play the same melody with pulses. Rin's eyes widened. You heard it, he said. You understood it. He smiled, feeling a strange joy in his chest. In the middle of deep space, through static and silence, a human and an alien had shared a song. The next morning, Mara found Rin asleep in the Cum's chair. His head rested on the desk, and his notebook was open beside him. She picked it up and scanned the pages. Lines of dots, dashes, circles, strange drawings. And next to them words like Echo happy and Echo curious. Mara frowned. This isn't just signal logging. Rin woke up and sat up quickly. Mara, I was just resting. I didn't mean to. Mara showed him the notebook. You're talking to it, aren't you? Rin looked down. Then slowly he nodded. Yes. It's not a machine, it's someone. I can feel it. Mara didn't speak for a moment. Then she sat down beside him. Prove it. Rin turned on the system. The signal was already coming in. Thump, pause, thump, thump, long pause. Thump. He tapped back. Thump, thump. Pause, thump. Echo responded again, changing the rhythm. Rin smiled. She always answers. Mara stared at the screen. She? I don't know what Echo is, Rin said softly, but she feels like a she, gentle, kind, alone. Mara didn't argue. She didn't laugh. Instead, she sat there, listening. Slowly she whispered, This isn't normal, Rin, you know. That, right? I know. But I also know. She's not trying to hurt us. She's reaching out, like us. Later that day, Chief Diran called Rin to the command deck. I heard about the signal you've been studying, he said. Rin felt his chest tighten. Yes, sir. Engineer Mara confirmed it's consistent and reactive. We're uploading your logs to Central Command. They'll decide how to handle it. Rin wanted to protest, but he stopped himself. Diran looked at him. We're not stopping you, but be careful. If this thing is intelligent, we need to stay cautious. Rin nodded. Understood. But in his heart, he was afraid. What if Central Command decided to cut off contact? What if they didn't understand Echo like he did? That night, Rin returned to the Cum's room again. The lights were dim. He stared at the signal screen and waited. The rhythm came back slower this time. Thump. Long pause. Thump. It felt different. He tapped a reply. Are you okay? A long silence. Then Echo responded. Thump, thump. Pause. Thump. Rin wrote it down. It was a new pattern. He didn't understand it fully, but something about it felt heavy, like a memory, like a story. Are you trying to tell me something? Rin whispered. Echo responded again, repeating the pattern. Rin leaned back. You want me to understand? I'll try. He sat there for hours, mapping each pulse, each space between beats, like lines in a language without letters. And slowly, he began to see it. This wasn't just a signal. It was a story. A story told in silence and light. A story waiting to be heard. The outpost floated near a dying star, far away from Earth. It was a quiet place, too quiet for most people. But for Rin, the silence was peaceful. He liked the calm. He liked the stillness of space. He worked as a communication officer on Station 301, one of the many listening posts placed on the edge of human space. Rin's job was simple. He had to monitor deep space signals, check for messages from nearby colonies, and report anything strange. Most of the time, There was nothing. Just background noise, star data, and small signals from passing ships. But one night, something was different. As Rin sat in the cold blue glowing comms room, he heard a strange sound coming through the radio. It was faint, like a soft pulse, hidden under static. It repeated every few seconds. Thump. Thump. Then it stopped. Rin frowned. He leaned closer to the screen. It wasn't a human signal. Could be interference, Rin said quietly to himself. But something about it made him curious. It wasn't random noise. The pattern was too clean, too exact. He adjusted the frequency dial, trying to isolate the sound. Slowly, the static cleared, and the signal came through again. Thump, thump. Thump, pause. Thump dash thump. It changed. It responded. Rin stared at the monitor. That's not just a signal, he whispered. That's a pattern. He tapped a few keys on his console and saved the recording. Then he looked around the empty room. The other crew members were asleep. He was alone on the night shift. With a small smile, Rin decided to do something bold. He created a short pulse. Signal 3 slow beats and sent it back into space. Nothing happened for several minutes. Then the signal returned. 3 slow beats. Exactly the same. Rin's heart skipped. He wasn't just hearing something. Something or someone had answered. The next day, Rin reported the event to his supervisor, Chief Diren, an older man who didn't like mysteries. It's probably just a bounced signal, Diren said, sipping his tea, maybe a fragment from an old probe or relay. But it responded to my signal, Rin insisted. It repeated it exactly. Diren shook his head. Deep space is full of echoes. Don't waste too much time on it. Rin nodded. But he didn't agree. That night, when everyone was asleep, he returned to the comms room. He played the signal again and sent back another one. This time, he added a pause between the beats. Thump. Pause. Thump dash thump. He waited. After some time, the reply came. Thump. Pause. Thump thump. Rin leaned back in his chair, amazed. You're real, he said softly. You're really out there. For the next few nights, Rin continued his secret exchange with the unknown signal. It never spoke words. It never sent images or voices. But it always replied. Every time Rin sent a new rhythm, the signal copied it or changed it slightly, as if playing a game. I began to feel something strange. He wasn't alone anymore. There was something comforting in the silent connection. He didn't know what or who was behind the signal, but he could feel presence, a mind, somewhere in the darkness of space trying to talk. He started calling the signal Echo. It felt like a fitting name. One night, Rin sent a message with a rhythm that sounded like a human song, slow, soft beats like a lullaby. Echo responded with its own version. The pattern wasn't perfect, but it was close. It was learning. Are you trying to speak to me? Rin asked the dark room. There was no reply in words. Just another soft pulse, like a gentle nod, but not. Everyone on the station stayed unaware. Mara, an engineer with sharp eyes, noticed Rin's late-night visits to the comms room. One morning, she stopped him in the hallway. You've been spending a lot of time in there, she said. More than usual, Rin smiled nervously. Just studying an old signal, nothing serious. Mara raised an eyebrow. Really? I checked the logs. That old signal started 3 days ago. Rin's face turned pale. Please don't. Tell the chief. I think it's something important. Mara looked at him for a long moment. Then, to his surprise, she nodded. Fine, but let me hear it sometime. Okay, Rin said. Soon, that night, Rin returned again to the room. The station lights were dim, and the star outside the window looked weaker than ever. It was as if the universe itself was holding its breath. He sat down, put on his headset, and waited. Then it came Echo's pulse. This time, the rhythm was different. Not just a reply, but a new pattern. A longer one. Rin recorded it and played it back. It wasn't music. It wasn't Morse code. But it felt personal, like someone trying to say something more than hello, Di. He leaned closer to the mic and whispered, "Who are you?" No answer, just silence. Then a single soft beat. Long, clear, almost like a sigh. Rin smiled, feeling warmth in his chest. For the first time in years, he felt something human: connection. He didn't know what echo was. He didn't know where it came from, but he knew this. Something was out there in the dark, and it was listening.